very religious. More than it's on the tween self, but when I think about it, the adult self is not really there because like, well, actually it's kind of, but it's more of like an anger towards religion. I find as a thread. Like when I was little, I remember like cursing God because it was like, stop the cold, you know, like it's too cold. Like, make it not cold. Like come on God, like help me out here.
Yeah, warm it up.
And then when like when it was like when it didn't happen, I'd be pissed off. Like, okay. And then when I was like a tween, I was like, God can go fuck himself. And like kind of had a more like nihilistic attitude. And then like now it's just more like agnosticism and like thinking, okay, well like humanity's a reflection of God. You know? So it's like up to us. And then like, but then I'm also like still having anger towards certain religious institutions. So like that's my ideal night. Like eating dinner and spending time with like my friends and family is great. For like when have you felt alone? Like when I'm a little kid, simply when I'm by myself. Like that's when I felt really alone. Or like away from my parents. In a scary way. Twin self when I'm like with strangers or like people that I don't have the same taste as me necessarily.
Yeah.
Or I can't like relate to. And like aren't my like 5 core friends. And then my adult self, like I wrote like when I'm in a place that is home, but I don't feel like I'm at home. That's when I feel alone. And it's more like I guess mood oriented. So that's one that isn't necessarily different. But yeah, like just in terms of like asking these questions, I'm sure I could like find that.
I found a few threads that I kind of put themes on: religion, family, coming and going, and then I realized that all of my questions were quite judgmental questions. And so that made me think, and then when I see, I drew a Venn diagram of 3, and the 3 things, one of them, which is a really big part of me, is the dreamer part of me, so everything I hope to be, everything that I feel like I am when I'm kind of disconnected from myself, and everything that I'm playing, but I'm not really there. And then there's the I, the awake me, who turns into a very judgmental me, and is like, get back to reality, you stupid asshole, like, what are you thinking, what are you thinking, what are you thinking? So that's a very judgmental part. And then the expectations of other people around me. So I feel like we've already talked about this, but I've just kind of contextualized it for my own. So everything I dream to be, and I'm not, everything I am, and everything other people expect from me or project on me.
Did you find anything in the middle?
There's a bunch in the middle, but I'm not at that equilibrium yet.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like I don't know. I feel like the thing that stayed true throughout all of those things. So I was always trying to live up to. I was always trying to please someone, or like, and I won't say like unselfishly, because I think throughout all of these things I've remained a fairly selfish person. But not so like yeah. I don't know. I did something. I just sort of listed like attributes that always remained the same. Like I was always eager to please. I am always. I don't know whether to put it that way. Always very, very driven and always hardworking, but super judgmental. Very critical of myself and others. Naturally good at things, but not great at things. Like, you know, really curious about other people, but again, selfishly, sort of where I am in relation to other people. Like, I don't know if I'm really interested in the other person, or like, what does that mean? Like, you're you're so different than me. And I've always been impatient.
So you can go next.
Ready?
I feel like I did this wrong maybe, but the thread between my 4 selves I wrote was like, yes, there is like a constant, and it is like myself. It's just how much I force myself out of myself, and not out of myself, like not to not be myself, but how much I force myself to be outwardly myself, or how much I let myself recoil and stay into myself.
Alright. Son?
I'm always myself.
What do you think?
The through line that I struck upon wasn't so much something that was in all of the cells as some sort of, I think like mechanic that causes them all to work or something. I started thinking about that question of what's the most important thing you can get from someone or give to someone sort of thing. And I was wondering about whether or not it actually is love. I've been thinking lately that in fact it isn't love. That love is not like all you need. That I've been experiencing that the giving of it or the receiving of it can kind of like inhibit or exhaust a person. That it can be a weird sort of trap if it doesn't accompany another thing, which is permission to be and permission to grow. That being something to give to someone.
Yeah.
Like you know, if somebody like a parent or a lover like loves you but doesn't give you permission to be or permission to grow into who you need to be, then that's not a gift really. The granting of permission seems to be the mechanic by which all of these selves that I was dealing with operate. Very specific permissions, like that no self of just like staring at the wall without any registration, in a way is granting permission to the wall to just be the wall. You know what I mean? Without engaging anything else. It's a permission to the wall. And the disintegrating monument self is granting permission to like death to be death in a way, to like for the moment to leave without trying to overcome it or fight it or preserve it or anything like that. And that spiritually aggressive self, the wolf self, is permitting the fire and the passion inside to be that, to be on fire, to be without control. If that permission was not granted, it would not be possible. That Reiki self that was really observing without reaction was permitting life to live, life to be life, sort of things. It was granting permission to whatever was being encountered to be that. And the jam self is a granting of permission to that whole faculty of interest and fascination to be fascinated, to fascinate. Yeah, permission of fascination to fascinate. And what was it? The last one that I had thought of, the skeletal whistle self of like pattern-based like emotional repression, I think also relates to permission in a weird way of like permitting pain to be like instruction. It's different. It's a little it's harder to connect, I think, but it's permitting pain to not completely swamp and overcome, but trying to make the pain be instructive in some way.
So it's like, I love you but I can't doesn't mean anything.
I love you but I can't.
Can't. I can't. It doesn't go anywhere. It would need to be I love you but I can. You know, like I can't allow you.
Yes,
You know
yes,
what I
I
mean?
see. Yes, yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It means a lot. It doesn't mean something very good.
No. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.